What does the CEO of Ori Electric Co-op and fighting heart disease and stroke have in common? We'll put the pieces together. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the 13th annual American Heart Walk to be held October 16th, and we're visiting with its co-chair, Pat Howle of Ori Electric Cooperative. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you for coming in. The real thank you is to guys like you who are committing a heck of a lot of time as a volunteer to the American Heart Association.
Well, it's a very worthwhile cause, and we're committed to doing whatever it takes to keep our employees healthy, and this is just a natural growth out of that to make sure that they stay healthy.
Absolutely, and I think earlier off camera you were talking about not only the employees, but in particular their families and all their loved ones and their family members spread out all over.
Well, as you know, heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States and Horry County, so anything we can do to reduce that, we're all for it. In
a county as large as Horry County. And of course, you've learned, I guess, virtually most nooks and crannies of the county now, Pat.
Yeah, we serve, being with Ori Electric Co-op, we serve power to about 75% of the land area of Horry County, so we know pretty much all of Horry County. And
if you were here as a cooperative, Pat, how exactly? Well, of course, let's first get into you.
Okay.
Real quick about yourself. Were you originally from the area?
Well, again, my name is Pat Howle, and I grew up and was raised in Darlington, and moved to Horry County about 10 years ago. I worked for PD Electric Co-op in Darlington for 22 years, and then was able to be hired as a chief executive officer here at Ori Electric Cooperative about 10 years ago. And my family and I moved here and love living in Conway, and it's our home, and will continue to be our home even after we retire.
You still have family in Darlington County?
I have a mother and a sister still in Darlington County, so we go back for weddings and funerals and those kind of things.
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, we're still real tight with everyone in Darlington also.
That's a great county as well. You think about companies like Sunoco or PD Electric Co-op or others that commit so much to that area. Of course, last week a lot of focus was on the raceway.
Oh yeah.
With so much going on there last Tuesday night. So it's just an amazing area.
Well, I also was on the Green Flag Club at the Darlington Raceway and was real active in that for probably over 20 years. So the raceway also has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, you probably get up there to see your mom a good bit.
Oh
there,
yeah,
I'm sure. That's right. Another reason to get up there.
That's right.
Of course, you know the bulk of our viewers are in the PD in southeastern North Carolina, but cooperatives are a part of all their lives. Probably even the folks in Robinson and Scotland County.
Right. There are basically 1,000 electric co-ops across the United States, 20 in South Carolina. And we're nonprofit, member-owned electric utilities whose members actually own us and control how we operate. They elect a board of trustees who sets the policies, hires a CEO who in turn hires the employees. So it's we feel like it's the best of all worlds in providing yourself with electric power.
Mm-hmm. You know, last year, of course, a big excitement. One of the co-chairs of the event was another cooperative, someone who's been intimately involved in the cooperative for a long time, a different co-op, Santee Cooper. Now, is it included as one of those 20, or is it kind of a mothership?
Yeah, it's more of a mothership. Santee Cooper is actually a quasi-state agency, and they are particularly in the generation of electricity business. And they do serve distribution-wise in Horry, Georgetown, and Berkeley counties. But the electric co-ops are their biggest customers. So we buy all of our power from Santee Cooper and then distribute it locally to our own members.
And I think I saw they serve 43 of the 46 counties. I mean, they sell power to virtually every county in the state,
right.
If not every county.
Right. Through the electric co-ops, they pretty much deliver their power throughout the complete state of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, a lot of viewers are parts of energy is provided by other folks throughout the region, other than cooperatives. Who are some of the folks?
Right. Well, you have, of course, Progress Energy in South Carolina, which formerly was Carolina Power and Light. You have Duke Power, and you also have South Carolina, Electric and Gas.
Mm-hmm.
And those are stock-owned, for-profit entities, and they have a place in providing service as well as do the co-ops. So with all those companies involved, we meet the electric needs of all the citizens of South Carolina.
And for member-owned companies, and we think of course, there's folks like credit unions, for instance, which are member-owned, co-op, Santee Cooper, of course, and then in this county, which is so well known for another co-op, Horry Telephone Cooperative,
Absolutely.
which I think is the 24th, 25th largest telephone provider in the country, the largest telephone co-op in America.
And actually, Horry Telephone Co-op grew out of Horry Electric Cooperative. Back in the late 40s, once the Horry County was electrified, then the next immediate need was telephone service. So it actually, Horry Telephone got its start from Horry Electric Co-op. So we have a very special and unique bond between the two sister organizations.
Yes, very definitely. And I know another big bond is this year you all having a good internal rivalry for the Heart Walk to help,
absolutely.
To help raise some good funds.
Yeah, we are real excited about that. Again, the Heart Walk and our wellness program is just a natural involvement for Horry Electric Co-op. We're more than just employees together. We truly are a family at Horry Electric Co-op. We endure a lot of things that a lot of businesses don't endure. For example, we are closest during times of emergency. Hurricane Charlie, for the prime example. During those emergency situations, we come together, and we definitely spend more time with each other than we do with our families. So I have a vested interest in my employees being well and healthy, but I also have a genuine interest because I really care about them.
Let's break down that aspect. Of course, you know, just that basic thing when you walk into a room, probably one of the things you take most for granted is when you flip on that light switch.
Oh, absolutely.
Pat, that power is going to come on.
It's a responsibility that we take very seriously. We're on call 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and that's a commitment that each of us take on once we, go to work for an electric co-op or an electric utility. That just comes with the territory.
Pat, is there another industry in the world that's more taken for granted? I'm trying to think, the gas you put in your car, that's probably taken for granted. Of course, we think about that now with instances going on around the world. Power switch, what would be something else that folks would take for granted, even?
I don't know. Because it's not just, electric power is not just a convenience now, it is a necessity of life.
Yeah.
And particularly in severe outages like the folks unfortunately in Florida are suffering right now.
Right.
You're talking about weeks without electric power, and really nothing works without electric power. So it is it has gone from just being a convenience to a life necessity.
Pat, will you just spend a couple minutes breaking it down real simple for viewers? Of course, a big focus is the Heart Walk, October 16th. We got 25 minutes, so part of the goal is to learn a little bit about you, but then to learn about when we talk about Santee Cooper, for instance, selling power to you, how does that work? And then how do you get it out to the 75% of the landmass of a county larger than the state of Rhode Island?
Well, fortunately, we started back in the late 30s doing this. Right. It's not something that's done overnight, but basically Santee Cooper was formed in the late 30s as a WPA project, and it was really sped up to provide power to the Naval Yard for the Second World War effort. And once the war was opening and Santee Cooper had excess power, and then we had folks in the country that didn't have power, so the natural thing was that the electric co-ops were formed, and we ended up taking Santee Cooper's power and then redistributing it to our member owners all across the state of South Carolina. But basically, Santee Cooper generates the power, and probably the most notable power station in Horry County is the Granger plant on 501. Everybody goes by it going back and forth to Myrtle Beach. Power is generated there, and then it's taken to a substation, and at that substation we pick it up through distribution lines all over Horry County. We have about 4,000 miles of line, 77,000 poles, and we deliver that power to everyone's home.
When you talk about they take the power. It's a concept that I have difficulty grasping, Pat, and I'm sure probably many of your customers have difficulty grasping.
Yeah. I am not an engineer by trade, so I just take my engineer's word that it works. But it is there. It's something that you don't want to see, but it does a lot for you. You see what it does for you, but you can see it if you do something wrong. So, electricity is a very exciting and unique business to be in, and I've been in it for over 31 years, and never regret the decision that this is where my life has been spent.
Yeah, it is amazing. You talk about serving 75% of the land mass of the county. So that is, much of that is west of the waterway or east?
The only place we actually cross the waterway is down in the Socastee area.
Okay.
Socastee, Highway 707, but the bulk of our service area is west of the waterway. So, and we serve about 51,000 homes and businesses throughout rural Horry County.
Is that right? That's impressive.
Yeah,
I don't think I understood that it was that large.
It's a big operation. It really is. We have a plant of about $180 million, and we have annual revenue of about $65 million.
Oh,
we have
come on.
Have 150 employees. So
Wow.
we're a big organization.
What was it like? Share with the viewers a little bit about what happened. You know, a little more than 2 weeks ago, the Hurricane Charlie hit in the area, and of course that having a big impact. And y'all jumping, you, HCC, Santee Cooper, across the board, y'all moving so fast to restore power.
Of course, we are so blessed today with modern technology that we really have a chance to get prepared before hurricanes come. So, you know, we got into the preparation mode well before Charlie arrived, and we were very fortunate that Charlie didn't give us a direct blow. But still, about 1:30 Saturday afternoon after Charlie made landfall, we had about 28,000 of our member owners without power out of 50,000. By midnight that night, we'd restored power to about 25,000. We still had about 3,000 out. And then we worked all day Sunday until about 11 o'clock Sunday evening and restored the last power. So we were real fortunate. Our guys and ladies got in there, and like they always do, they always put the member owner first, their own individual needs. A lot of them had damage at their own homes, but they go out and take care of the customers first, and then worry about their personal needs once everything's been restored to normalcy.
Golly, Pat, that is a huge commitment on y'all's folks' part.
Well,
I mean, that aspect of doing for others first. When you think about that aspect of member ownership, and you use that word so freely, and so because it is a powerful thing, member owners.
It's again, it is a family affair at Horry Electric. We're not employees, co-employees. We are a true family, and again, leading back to the Heart Walk. That's why I'm committed to doing anything I can to improve the health of my employees. And if our efforts saves one person's life, prolongs one person's life, or prevents somebody from having heart disease, then we've been successful in our efforts.
Well, Pat, that other great aspect, of course, not only being the #1 killer, but stroke, another big component of the American Heart Association. Right. The American Stroke Association is a subsidiary of the AHA, the #3 killer. We had a cardiologist in the PD area from McLeod visiting with us when we were filming up there one week. You know, he talked about the PD and Horry County and the strand, the stroke belt buckle of the stroke belt of America. And truly, the belt buckle component, so many folks harmed by heart disease and stroke.
I think I was looking at some of the figures coming over, and I think 64 million Americans suffer from some form of cardiovascular disease. So that's 1 in 4 Americans. So if you don't have it, someone in your family or someone very close to you will suffer from cardiovascular disease. And like I said, it's the #1 killer, and over 40% of Americans that die from heart disease, and that's over 38 million people. And it's significant.
Share with viewers a little bit about your interest, of course, coming in as co-chair of the Heart Walk. Huge commitment there, Pat. Obviously, the Heart Association seeks leaders in the community. Another amazing leader, Tony Cox, the Burrs and Chapin Company, coming on board as your co-chair. There's a lot that goes into a walk that I don't think folks understand when they just show up there the day of and walk around Broadway at the beach.
Well, you know, you can look at it as something that's time-consuming and it's hard to do, or you can look at it as something that's going to be an enjoyable experience, and that's what I've chosen to do. We've made it just a fun event at Horry Electric Cooperative, have all of our employees involved, and I challenge other organizations that might be watching this program to get involved and put together their teams. But we're doing some fun things. We bought some real nice gifts at the co-op, and I've challenged all my employees, all 130 of them, to sell at least $100 worth of tickets on those raffle items. And for every $100 they sell, if they sell $100 worth, I'm giving them a day's vacation. Right. So potentially I'm giving away 130 days of vacation, and I hope I do. But again, if I save one person, or if these efforts, I won't do anything, but if these efforts save one person's life, prolong someone's life, or prevent them from getting heart disease, then we've been more than successful.
You're exactly right, Pat. You're very passionate about that. We got about 10 minutes. Think about, break down for viewers who may be on the bubble about getting involved, who may not work at a company or maybe out, maybe you're retired, relaxing at home. What are some of the ways that they could get involved?
Well, they would call it a heart association, but basically we're asking folks to put together 10-person teams and ask each person if they would to raise $100. We have a very lofty goal of 2,500 walkers on October the 16th at Broadway at the beach at Margaritaville, and I think we'll start around 8:30 or 9 in the morning.
Right.
And we're going to try to raise about $200,000. And of course, all that money goes toward research, and hopefully it'll maybe save some of our lives, as you and I that we're talking today. But it's very easy to get involved. Just put together a team, call the Heart Association, raise some money. Love to have you. Love to have you if you don't raise any money. Just come and walk with us and participate in the event. Get
out there and be a part of it. And of course, one of the real exciting things now is an aspect of getting out there earlier in the morning to register, even make a small donation to get access to Ripley's Aquarium. Ripley's Aquarium is opening up from between 9 and 10 before they would open for regular hours to get out there to try to raise some funds for the Heart Association and possibly even come back after their hours. So they've opened up the door. Margaritaville that day, as you know, Pat, is given, I think, 10% of their gross sales to the Heart Association from sign-on to sign-off that night. And, of course, a Saturday night at Margaritaville is sure turning out to be big nights.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody realizes what an important event and how important it is to try to cure heart disease. And every company and all the supporters have really stepped up and are making this, I think, hopefully one of our best heart walks ever. And I think this is our 13th or 14th heart walk. And we're excited about having it at Broadway at the beach, a wonderful venue, just all kind of things to do before, after, and during the heart walk. So we just hope everybody will come out and spend that Saturday. Walk 3 miles. It's not a competitive walk. It's just a fun walk. Yeah. Have your friends, your family, come out and join us. It's going to be a great day.
That's right. There'll be a heck of a lot of folks out there. They've laid out, we got about 9 minutes, Pat. They've laid out that walk. Burrs and Chapin's laid that out of walking around Broadway once, then walking around the perimeter, and then walking again through Broadway. So it's a great opportunity to learn about some of those stores in the area, to find out that area as well as enjoy things you may see, that place you want to come back to afterwards.
Absolutely. It's, again, a great place to have it. There's so much going on at Broadway, so much entertainment, so much shopping, so much dining available there that I guarantee you folks come out, they will enjoy themselves.
Right. Pat, you know, visiting y'all's website, orielectric.com, I saw there's a heck of a lot of charities y'all get involved in. Community service is indicative. The March of Dimes Ride for Babies coming up, I think actually it's around that same time, mid-October. Of course, there was a big hole-in-one shootout that y'all are having or recently had.
Yeah.
Share with the viewers a little about some of the other community service projects y'all get involved in, since we got a good bit.
Well, I hate to start mentioning them, but you named a couple, because we just feel like that part of our mission is to give back to Horry County, because Horry County has been so good to Horry Electric Cooperative, and Horry Electric Cooperative is Horry County. We are owned by the people who use our power, who live in Horry County, so we have a vested interest in making sure that we are a good corporate citizen, and we take that responsibility very seriously, and we are maybe selective on the events that we participate in, but we are very active in the community, in the chambers of commerce, in things like the march, the Ride for Babies, of course the Heart Association, the Heart Walk, and just numerous events that help make Horry County a better place to live.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of that, Pat, I think I saw some pictures of you traveling up to Washington not too long ago, another big connection to help make Horry County even stronger. I know that that road, if it actually, when it takes place, will have a big impact on your customer service.
Well, I-73 is a priority for Horry County, the state of South Carolina, and hopefully the U.S. Congress.
Right.
But it will be a major, have a major impact on Horry County, not only for generating more revenue, more tourists, those kind of things, but also it'll be just a wonderful tool to help us in evacuation instance like we just went through, and it was very successful. I might add, the governor reversing the lanes of 501 and allowing people to get out of Horry County. But I-73 would just be a wonderful improvement to not only ingress into the county, but if we need to egress and get out of the county in, emergency situations. So we're very supportive of I-73, and I was fortunate enough to attend the meeting in Washington a month or so ago, and Oriole Electric Co-op is very supportive and committed to doing all that we can to make I-73 a reality.
Pat, since we got a few minutes, would you mind sharing? Folks have asked me about green power and exactly what that is. We hear that phrase all the time. I know Santee Cooper and the Touchstone Energy Partners have worked hard to get the word out about that. But for some viewers at home this morning who may be interested in learn a little bit about green power, could you just give a simple breakdown of that for a minute or so?
Yeah, I'll try to. Basically, Horry County was the first county in South Carolina to participate in green power, and what we're doing in conjunction with Santee Cooper is taking the methane gas that's produced naturally at the Horry County Solid Waste Authority's landfill, taking that gas, putting it in a generator, burning it, and generating electricity. You're taking a renewable resource and providing another resource from it. Green power, an example of green power would also be wind-generated power and those kind of things. But the beauty of the project here in Horry County, and it has grown, Santee Cooper has grown it through most of the state now. They are working with 4 or 5 other landfills throughout the state of South Carolina to put in green power projects. But the green power, the beauty of it, by taking the methane and burning it and not releasing it into the ozone and the atmosphere and replenishing the ozone, then it has the same effect. Each block of power, and it's $3 to buy a block of power, and really what you're doing is making a donation to build the next green power landfill generating unit. But the beauty of that, every $3 that you donate monthly to green power has the same effect of planting 1,000 acres of trees and the environmental effect, the positive environmental effect that would have. So it's not only is it a very sensible thing to do, but it's just a wonderful thing for the environment.
That is powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks for sharing that a little bit. One other thing that I know folks often ask about when you're thinking about a not-for-profit system like y'all is capital credits, and exactly how that ties in. I know it's often portrayed as the backbone of the not-for-profit system, for instance, of Oriole Electric Co-op. How exactly do capital credits work for viewers who may be interested in learning more about that?
Well, it depends on each co-op's financial position, but at Oriole Electric, we're very aggressive about capital credits. And capital credits basically represents the members' ownership in the business. And what we do is every year after we have our audit, and anything that we collect from our members that's in excess of actually providing them with the power and running the business is put into a capital credit account. And that money is refunded to them. And presently we're refunding over $1 million a year. Wow. So it is something that it's their investment in the company, but they are receiving payment of that. Right now we can't take this year's capital credits and turn it over because we operate the business off of it. But right now we're paying, in 2004 we'll pay half of that money for 2003 capital credits, and I think the other half will come from about 1983. Wow. So it is about a 20-year swing, but it is money that will come back to the member owners because they own the business and the profit is theirs.
What an exciting aspect of being part of a co-op. That's something I don't think a lot of folks would think about or be knowledgeable of. That's very interesting. In a couple of minutes, Pat, we've obviously got a big focus on that day. If someone's trying to make a decision, if they can't be part of a team of 10, we can still get them out. As you said, just get them out to walk. But there's still fundraising opportunities if you're a single person.
Right. We, again, please call the Heart Association. We'd love to have you singles, teams, anybody that can show up. Again, we've got a very lofty goal of 2,500 walkers, and we feel like we'll reach that. And I think last year the goal, I think the Heart Association raised $175,000. This year we're trying to raise $200,000.
We're going to beat $200,000.
If we raise $2 million, it still wouldn't be enough.
That's right.
Because heart disease is just is the #1 killer, and we need to do all we can. So we just encourage everybody to get excited, get involved. If you can't come out, write a check.
Good words. Pat, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.
It's been a treat. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Pat Howle coming up next. You heard him share with us about green power, about touchstone energy, about capital credits. You heard him really talk about member owners. And when you think about member owners, you think about somebody who's been either affected directly by heart disease and stroke, or has a family member or a loved one or someone they work with. Folks all around you, your neighbor has been touched by heart disease and stroke. You heard him use those simple words. If we could hit 2 million, it still wouldn't be enough. Pat Howle stressing that because he knows on a daily basis the heart disease impacts are dramatic. Stroke is dramatic. October 16th is coming up. It's getting real close. We've got a lofty goal of 200,000. You heard him say it. Maybe it should be $2 million goal. The phone number, 843-626-3939, 843-626-3939. It's going to be a special day. The first year we've moved out to Broadway at the beach, a new location. A lot's going to happen. You can cruise through Ripley's Aquarium. You can cruise around Broadway. Just get out there. You heard him say it. Whether you raise money or not, get out and walk to fight heart disease and stroke.